Hello, I'm Jeff, and welcome to the 10 Revolutions podcast, where we have conversations with the disruptors who are improving life on Earth. In today's episode, our host Mark is interviewing Philippe Jutras, who is the founder of Aberland and the Plant Cell Institute. He's a scientist whose North Star is feeding people beyond climate limits.
Philippe, my friend, how are you?
I'm good. How are you, Mark?
I'm really well. So glad to see you.
Yeah, good to see you. It's been a while, a few months since last time.
Where was the last time?
Startup Huddle, maybe? April?
I think so, yeah. Startup Huddle.
Okay, it's been a long time. Hopefully I can join the next Startup Huddle.
I'm hoping to go to that.
In July. So.
But you've been traveling, right? You've been abroad?
Yes, I've been abroad, a few contracts. Needed to change a little bit my practice, my personal, professional work. And it's been exciting. New projects are coming up.
So this has been a work trip rather than a family trip?
No, didn't go for a family trip. Hopefully September. We have holidays in September, but not summertime. Too busy.
And you're from
Canada,
from French speaking.
From the French, yes. Apologize for the accent. It's French speaking Canadian.
So it's Philippe Jutras.
Yes.
Have I pronounced that right?
Wow, beautiful, excellent. Yes.
Okay,
that's exactly my name.
Excellent. So should we talk about how we first met?
Yeah, let's do that. Remember, I think it started because I met Monica first, because a year ago I was trying to help artists, trying to promote their art. So I built an app and whatsoever, and that's how I met Monica first. And then Monica invited me to this social enterprise workshop in Oxford. And I was like, oh, yeah, let's do that. That's what I want to do as well. And then we met at this workshop the whole day. Wow. And since then, we've met quite a few times.
And then the Indian restaurant where I shared the idea of the 10 revolutions.
Yes, on a napkin. I still have it, I guess.
You still got that note?
Yeah. I'm pretty sure I still have it.
But I don't think it was a podcast then. I don't think we actually...
No, it was a book. Initially.
A book is too ambitious, I think.
Yeah. You sent me like a pre-structured plan for a book. So now a podcast.
I think it was going to be an article. I think it was going to be like a series of small articles. Then I started writing and it became very lengthy and I thought, this is too much for like a blog or something like that. I think then it metamorphosed into a talk. And then I thought, well, a talk would be, you'd probably have to have, there's a lot of different topics to explore. So then I just thought, well, maybe a podcast is, then we can explore all these different revolutions in different episodes.
Yeah, I think a podcast is a good way to share knowledge and information with a big community.
Which segues into your revolution. So
yeah,
tell us about your revolution.
Well, okay, how can I define myself? I think I define myself as a purpose-driven entrepreneurial scientist. Maybe I should give a bit of background on my story as well. Yeah. So before we go into why and what's my revolution. As you said, I'm a French-Canadian, so I grew up in Canada. And my father is now a retired agronomist. So my dream when I was a kid was to be a farmer. I was like, this is the best job in life. I just want to have my farm and live there, and I'm going to be happy. And in Canada, you can have massive land and beautiful farms. So I went to uni and I studied crop science, and I became an agronomist myself. But the thing is that when I arrived at the university, I discovered molecular biology, which is the biology of the cells. So what's in the plant or animals or whatsoever, humans also were made of cells. And when I started to look inside a cell, I was like, wow, this is a beautiful world that I was not aware of because I was just looking at the plants or animals or these type of things. So I focused a lot of my studies into these molecular biology tools. And then a pandemic happened. Not COVID, the H1N1 bird flu in 2009, 2010. Some people don't remember it, but it was still a big thing. And the problem back then was that human vaccines were made with chicken eggs, but the bird flu was killing the chickens and the hens. So people were like, oh, how are we going to make millions of doses of human vaccines if we don't have chickens anymore? So I've realized now that in the city that I was, there was a small company that was trying to develop the first human flu vaccine made from plants. And I was like, okay, I should leave farming and just jump into this challenge and try to develop a human flu vaccine made from plants instead of chicken eggs. And that's what I did. I joined this company, and took us 8 years, a very long time. But nowadays, there are human vaccines that are made from plants. The flu is a good example. COVID, not all COVID is made mainly by mRNA, but you can also produce it from plants. Anti-rabies as well. So I developed this expertise in plant and biotechnology applied for pharmaceuticals.
So, just to explain what mRNA is, it's a messenger that carries genetic code, and it could be used for building proteins as a vaccine, for example.
And back then, I think 8 years wasn't a particularly long time frame for developing a vaccine, was it? I mean,
well, when you look at COVID now, when you
look at it now, but prior to COVID, to the, I guess, necessity is the mother of invention.
Yes. 8 years was actually pretty good. That was actually the power of the technology. We could make different types of vaccines in less than a month, which is extremely fast compared to traditional egg-based vaccine production systems. So that was the whole idea. I remember back then, not exactly the numbers, but I think we got a grant to develop a factory that would produce 10 million doses in less than a month. And that was kind of the target, being super quick, super fast, because the technology was very good at responding to threats and not necessarily be predictive, because, I mean, I don't want to go into the details of vaccines and whatsoever, but for the flu, it's often predictive. So they try to predict which strain will be the most important one this year, and then they develop the vaccine because it takes 6 months.
So they're predicting the mutations before they happen?
Yes. And then often it doesn't work. Not often, but sometimes it doesn't work. Yeah. As efficient as it should.
Well, I'm certainly learning a lot about vaccines. Stuff that I didn't know.
But I've moved away from vaccines now. We've done it. It was challenging. But after that period, I got a position at Oxford, the university, to carry on doing my work and working on other types of pharmaceuticals. So we worked on anti-cancer, anti-HIV molecules, but always using plants as kind of the small biofactory to produce these proteins. People don't know, but you can actually produce human proteins in plants. You cannot really put plant proteins in human. That don't think would work necessarily. But the plants have this flexibility, so you can use them to produce some molecules. So I'd done that for another few years at Oxford. And then at one point I was like, oh, please go, Mark. Sorry. No, you have to stop me because I'm going to talk for the whole podcast.
No, keep going.
I mean, after a few years at Oxford, I was like, you know what? I want to combine my two passions, agriculture from the start, which was really still deep in my heart, and all the technologies and biotechnologies that I've developed and we've developed for the pharmaceutical industry. And I was like, can we just try to bring some of those technologies to innovate in farming? And the whole idea was like, can we develop a new agricultural system that can remove our dependency on land and climate to produce food? Mm-hmm. And I'll explain briefly how I see farming at the moment, perhaps with an analogy with the ice industry.
The ice industry?
Yeah.
Okay. So,
very long time ago, we were cutting ice in frozen lakes, right? And that process was 100% climate dependent, right? Do you have winter or not?
Yeah.
But also, are you close to a lake, a frozen lake? And then someone built the first factory to freeze water, and it was crazy expensive back then. I think initially it was for hospital needs, right? So to bring ice closer to the needs. And then nowadays we have freezers in our home, and no one is actually cutting ice in lakes.
People still cut ice, don't they? In the Andes,
yes, for very, very niche markets.
Yeah, but they're going further and further up the mountain to get the ice. Yeah.
Some people do still cut ice, but the majority don't do that anymore because we have access to it at home. Yeah. And farming is still very highly dependent on land and climate. So can we find a way to be more sustainable and more resilient? And I just want to be clear here, the goal is not about removing farming. It's about creating an additional system that will bring more resilience in the global food system. So it's not about farming is bad, we should remove it. It's more about, can we complement farming with other things that will stabilize the global food market, especially with those climate conditions and change.
So I think the problem statement is something along the lines of, we've got to growing population.
Yes.
2050, the population will reach 10 billion.
Yeah.
About a third of all land is used for agriculture.
Yeah.
About a half of habitable land. Whereas only 1% is urban. That's a lot of things people don't realise, is it?
Yes.
Like agriculture is a huge demand on land. 25% of greenhouse gases produced by agriculture. But then you look, I think the land is the big thing. You look at the opportunity cost of rewilding a big chunk of that. Never going to be all of it, but imagine how much land you could rewild and how much carbon you could capture.
And for biodiversity and all of this, the impact it would have. That's the challenge.
So I think you're in a very interesting spot here. You are, food, there's nothing more important than food security.
Exactly.
But then on the flip side of that, you've got biodiversity, you've got carbon sequestration.
It's all linked, right? And through my research, I kind of realized that actually humanity lives on only 6 plants, mainly. 80% of all our energy comes from 6 plants. 3 of them are cereals: wheat, rice, maize. 3 other ones are potatoes. And as a plant scientist, it's pretty scary because it's only 2 plant families. So technically, you can have a disease that can wipe out all the cereals, the maize, the rice, and the wheat. And you can have one disease wiping out all the potatoes. That's going to be a problem for the world. So that's how it started with my revolution. I was like, okay, we must work on one of those 6 plants because this is so essential. Even if one of the plant disappears, rice, millions of people will die. So it's very important that we focus our energy on those crops.
And it's also, it's probably worth pointing out as well, isn't it? It's this monoculture that we got used to, like, just fields and fields of the same plant, massive risk, particularly with the climate as it is.
Yeah.
But it's also dominated by, I think, four big companies.
Yeah.
It's seeds, pesticides, fertilizers. It's a monopoly as well.
Yes, changing the status quo in farming is a tough one for sure. But we need to carry on fighting and bring innovation and show that the technologies that we want to bring will bring benefits, commercial benefits, societal benefits, environmental benefits in many ways.
Just to jump in here, rice, wheat and maize make up 60% of our diet of all grown food, and a handful of megacorporations actually control the distribution of seeds and fertilizers throughout the world. So this really goes to show the lack of resilience in the world's food system and how Philippe's work to feed people beyond climate limits could really have a positive impact on the world economy and on people's well-being.
So I'm curious to hear more about Can you explain in layman's terms then, sort of wheat cell, how the process works with the wheat cells?
So again, back to our 6 plants, 3 of them cereal, 3 of them are potatoes. We looked at them and we're like, okay, which one we should target first? Maize was a good candidate, but it's still a lot to feed animals. So we're like, nah, we don't want to focus on a plant that is mainly to feed stock. Rice was a good target, but the problem is that people consume rice in the form of the grain, right? So there's, if we were to recreate grains, we would need to have the same texture, the same size. When it's cooked, it's exactly the same. Otherwise, people will see that it's slightly different, and that could create some barriers of acceptability. Potatoes, I was not an expert in potatoes, so I was like, I should leave that for someone else. But then wheat is transformed into powder, wheat flour. No one knows what it looks like, a wheat grain. So the flour, because it's just a powder, it was actually the best to start with. And we looked and we asked ourselves the first question, where does wheat flour come from? And actually, if you think about a wheat plant, we only eat the grain. We don't care about the stems, the leaves, the roots. We only care about the grain. So we looked inside the grain, and there's one type of cell called the endosperm, and that type of cell is creating the flour. So we can actually extract that cell from the grain, grow them in tanks like bioreactors or like the brewing industry is doing. And when you try the product, it's flour, powder. So technically, it was very simple to solve. We managed to do the flour. On the scientific side, it was okay, but we failed on other sides of it.
Yes, go on. I think I know where this is going. So,
yes,
but I want to hear it.
Well, first, it failed commercially because obviously I was coming more from a scientific point of view. It's like I was trying to solve a scientific problem. And actually, maybe I'm biased, but it was the easiest part to solve. The hardest part, if you really want to have impact and you want to bring something new to the market and commercialize something, you need three things. Regulatory approvals for any new products, very important. Commercial, who's going to buy your product? Someone needs to buy your product, otherwise it's pretty useless. And third one is operations. How are you going to make millions of tons of wheat flour from cells? And
scaling it, basically.
Exactly. Yeah. And we failed in all those three because the science, which is the fourth one, we made it. It's okay. But we couldn't get the product approved by the Food Standard Agency. You need you need to go through a lengthy process, probably 4 to 5 years, to just get your product approved for eating and commercialization. Clients were there, but again, the price was too high. Obviously, our technology is not at scale at the moment, so we cannot compete with wheat flour. If you go to Tesco, you get 1 kilo of wheat flour for less than £1. The margin is already very low, and it's highly subsidized as well by the government. And then on operations was like, yeah, we can make 1 kilo or 50 kilo of flour, but we're talking of a market of millions of tons of wheat per year. So we have some technical challenges there to sort out before the technology would actually make a big impact.
And this is where you are today?
Yes. We've iterated the concept. So instead of trying to produce wheat flour, which is actually, as I said, a commodity product and very too difficult to sell.
You're competing with something that's already in the market.
Yeah, that was too hard. So we moved to actually selling wheat flavor. So surprisingly, our cells by default, they are gluten-free. They don't have gluten. So we're like, oh, why can't we sell the flavor of wheat to the gluten-free industry? And the reason with flavor is that it's a low volume. We can concentrate the flavor in a small volume and sell it for high price because it's a spice. So we went back to those data bank in the UK and in US to look at heritage wheat cultivars. And we looked at basically trying to revive the flavor of the wheat of the past. Let's call it like this. Because through domestication, wheat has been optimized for yields in the field, which is primarily starch, but it has lost its healthy properties, flavor, and whatsoever.
And you have the power to control the flavor in the process, right?
Yes, exactly. We can tweak it in different form. So that was very exciting. We got great interactions with gluten-free companies in the UK and Europe. But again, we couldn't sell it because you need approvals from their regulatory agencies. So we need to sort that problem first. And anyway, scale-up is also a problem. So on the side now, I've established a research institution called the Plant Cell Institute, and I bring all together all the different companies that are focusing on making change in food and materials using plant cell culture. And we try to solve those big challenge.
Better together.
Yes, because it's such a small and new technology. We just try to bring everyone together and say, like, we all have the same problems. Can we try to find solutions together with the industry, with academic research institutions?
Interesting. Yeah, because if you look at protein powders, for instance, that is, I guess that's been quite a big area of focus, hasn't it? Because the demands on land for cultivating meat, and I think the example Solar Foods that got regulatory approval for protein powders. So I think that is proof that these things can. Yeah. That there is a market for these things.
No, it's coming. It's all about timing, right? In these any innovation, you need to be in the window. And maybe I was a bit too early. I still believe that in the future, the technology will come. And I'm still fighting for it, actually. I'm still building all those blocks, the foundation of it, so that when the time arrives, we can actually use this technology and build this resilient system.
It's patience and perseverance, isn't it?
Yes.
And not giving up.
Yes.
I can imagine are there days when you think, why am I doing this?
Yeah, 100%. A lot of days, but you have to look at the long-term vision, right? And for me, I know where I want to go. Like the North Star is clear. The path to reach the destination, that is unclear.
We love that idea from Philippe at the 10 Revolutions, that idea that the North Star is clear, but the path may be unclear. For Philippe, his North Star is feeding people beyond climate limits. A question for you to reflect on listening to this podcast episode is, what is your North Star? And what sacrifices are you willing to make to get there? Let's get back into the conversation between Mark and Philippe.
I keep my motivation by knowing that this is where I want to go. I'm going to spend 10 years on this. I know. So better just go through the path, find wrong paths, do mistakes, fail, and then just...
It's not failure, it's just feedback.
No, it's just experience.
Yeah.
I don't like the word failing exactly. It's just about experience. Now I've gained so much experience in the past years, like just trying.
And you faced some particular headwinds, didn't you? Are you happy to talk about that?
I can talk about that a little, but yeah, we had some legal challenges as well regarding our technology. But that, I think in any type of innovation where you are disrupting a market, then some people will not be very happy. Let's put it like this. So yeah, but I believe by now that this is part of being in an entrepreneurial world, right? There's competition.
And this is what this podcast is all about. It's disruptors. It's people who are trying to upset the status quo.
Exactly.
But there are too many people trying to protect it, I think.
It's hard, yes. You need to surround yourself with good people that believe in you, and people with a great network that helps, and connections. It's all about networking connections at the end of the world.
The power of it, yeah.
Yes, it helps. So yes, a few, not problems, issues, but yeah, hurdles, but it's still going. I'm still there and I'm still trying to do it. So project's still alive.
And how do you make a living then, if you don't mind me asking? Do you make a living out of this, or what is it?
Yeah, I do consulting on the side for other agri-tech companies. And that helps me build up even more my network and connections with those industries, because it's all about trust, right? And when I do my consulting gigs with those agri-tech companies, then they know me, they trust me. So when I'm going to be ready to present the new technology, they will listen to me. So yes, it's mainly around consulting at the moment.
Gives you momentum.
Yes.
So what is that? So you talk about the vision and the North Star that's coming into. What is your 10-year vision? Where would you like to see this in 10 years' time?
Well, for me...
Or see the world at large in terms of the food industry?
Yeah. I'd say, for me, how I would define success is feeding people beyond climate limits. That's my purpose. And that, for me, would be a success. If it's not wheat, if it's something else, it's okay. It doesn't have to be specifically wheat, but I try to put all my energy into projects that will eventually help people or feeding people beyond climate limits. And that's the purpose. My favorite projects are at the intersection of three things: research, collaboration, and entrepreneurship. So every morning when I wake up and someone is asking me, oh, do you want to do a new project? I try to see, like, does it fit in my triangle? Mm-hmm. And does it fit with my North Star of feeding people beyond climate limits? If so, then I'm willing to jump in and then just try. And let's see. I'm very often, and I wouldn't say stupid because that's a big word, but sometimes I say to myself, I'm a stupid, uninformed optimist. So every time I'm like, yes, we got to make it, but I'm actually very uninformed. And the more you do it, the more you become informed. And now you realize that it's hard and complex. Yeah.
You don't know what you don't know.
Exactly.
And you find out.
You need a bit of this naivety, I think, to come up with those revolution things, because you just don't know. So you just try it, and then, whoops, you realize that there are some dead ends. Not true. You can always find alternatives.
And so what's next on the plan then? Is it you talk about regulatory approval? What is the sort of immediate roadmap look like in terms of getting things launched and scaling up?
So my focus is really on the associations that I'm building at the moment, the Plant Cell Institute. I'm building this consortium in Europe and across the world with a few partners, and we want to push forward the development of plant cell culture. Because as I said, we have identified a few bottlenecks, technical bottlenecks. Scalability is one, for instance. And I'm really focused on trying to bring all those players together to support each other and solve and crack those big bottlenecks. And then it will expand to other markets, because in the association we have companies or startups or research institutions already doing cell-based chocolate, coffee, avocado, cotton, wood, wheat in my case. So the technology can be applied to so many different things, not only food, but materials as well in the future.
And do you think there's a cultural shift as well, isn't there, in terms of people eating stuff that's lab produced? Is there a tipping point in that, do you think? Is that coming soon? Because I think at the moment people think, oh, it's not natural. It's like there's a bit of a stigma around it, perhaps. When do you think we'll reach that tipping point where it becomes acceptable?
Well, that I don't know. How? I could say it's about educating and be very transparent in the process. So again, in our organization, we publish a lot of things on our website, resources, explanation. It's just about being very transparent and honest about what we are trying to build, because at the end, in our case, we don't do any GMO whatsoever. It's just a different way of growing a plant. We just don't use the whole plant anymore. We just use a part of the plant, but it's still the same plant. So it's just, for me, for your question, when, I don't know. Hopefully it will happen soon. But the how is really about making sure we're out doing podcasts like this and make it a very friendly environment where people are welcome to ask questions, and that we can share and be very transparent on the process.
And do you think it's better to talk about the problem statement as you've articulated? You know, the fact that with our population growing as it is, we're not going to be able to feed 10 million people the way we're doing it at the moment. And of course, the huge risk around, as you've articulated already, around climate risk and lack of diversity. Or do you rather put it on, well, I can create this product with fantastic flavors. Which way round do you approach it?
You need to create an emotional connection. So it depends on who you're talking to, but it's very key. If there's no emotional connection, for example, if I'm talking to farmers, for instance, farmers are very centered around, this is a family business. We want the farm to sustain for a long time, for generations. So you can go and tell them, look, the farm might not survive multiple generations because of the climate change and whatsoever. We try to build something that will help you sustain your family business over time. So you need to try to find those emotional connections so that people can realize that, yes, actually, we're not trying, as I said, to compete with farmers. We're actually trying to help farmers in this example, to try to develop technologies that will make them have more reliable revenue streams and that their family business will sustain multiple generations. So emotional connection would be my key approach in here.
People buy with their emotions, don't they? Whatever it is, experiences, products. Yeah.
Because if you just say sustainability, some people might not connect with that. Some people don't care about sustainability. So you really have to tailor your message depending on your audience. That's the key, I think.
Yeah. What keeps you awake at night then? I think I get what gets you up in bed in the morning. What keeps you up at night?
Up at night, I'd say the speed that everything is changing so quickly at the moment. It can be from environmental changes. Just look at Europe at the moment, like we're burning. It's like heat wave, but also technological speed, like AI is coming in whatsoever. And I think for me, it's really important that we build environments where humanity can be more resilient to those fast changes in every part of society, environment, technological society. So creating this moment or environments, I don't know how we would call it, where, we can be more resilient because things are moving so fast. That's what scares me. I'm not scared. I see this as an opportunity, but I see that
it can be overwhelming.
Exactly, right? Exactly. It is overwhelming, right? And on the other side, more personally, but I'm kind of scared. Scared is a big word, but I'm scared. I see a world where food will be limited in some form, and I cannot just do anything. Let's just let it go. I need to do something. Right? Maybe my vision of the future of the world is wrong. I hope so, but for now, I see that yes, we can have droughts, other diseases, issues, and millions of people will die. We need to rely on other avenues, right? Farming, you touched on monoculture earlier in the podcast, and monoculture is really great because it's very efficient. But as you said, there's zero resilience in monoculture. So you need to find a balance between efficiency and resilience. On the opposite, on the extreme, if we were to have 30 or 40 or 50 different food systems, that would probably be not efficient enough. But yeah, there's this tricky balance between efficiency and resilience that we need to find.
Well, I guess it's moving away from it's having nitrogen. It's like pea plants, isn't it? Nitrogen absorbing plants,
exactly.
So we can reduce the dependency on fertilizers. I think it's complementing these regenerative type farming alongside what's happening here. It's not a kind of, flip a switch and suddenly the whole field goes to lab. It's never going to be like that, is it?
No. There would definitely be a transition. And then you have to look at all those systems, as you mentioned. Organic farming has its place. Vertical farming has its place. Cellular farming that I'm developing has its place. Traditional farming as well. So you need the combination of those different farming practices.
Fantastic. I think that was really educational, and I'm rooting for you all the way, Philippe.
Yes, I know you are with me, and I feel it. Thank you for that.
So I'm really, really grateful and humbled for you to come on as a guest. And
you
as
for
I
the
say,
invitation.
I'm supporting you 100%.
Yeah,
thank you, my friend.
We'll do another podcast in a year, and I'll tell you where I am.
I look forward to it. Can't wait.
All right, thank you.
Thank you for listening to this episode of the 10 Revolutions podcast. Particular thanks to Ollie and Stan and the team at Cowley Road Studios. At the 10 Revolutions, we're creating a movement, supporting people who don't necessarily get a lot of coverage. There are good news stories in the world, and we're here to help promote the people who are writing those stories. One of the things we've noticed through these conversations is that when humans want to make a positive impact on the world, they can't do it on their own. Please join our movement via Patreon to support future content and to engage with the community, including the podcast guests. The details are in the show notes. And a final ask from us. Please share this episode with 5 people that you think would be positively impacted by it. Thank you for helping us to grow the movement.